If you're ambitious, talented, and still stuck in business, you are not the problem. 6 years in business, hundreds of clients, dozens of launches, tens of thousands in expenses, and hundreds of thousands in income. What nobody tells you behind every highlight reel in business is the trench of trial and error that could have been avoided. And the truth is, in business, you are probably building from an outdated identity that is not going to get the results that you desire in business. Hello, and welcome back to my channel. I am Pinili. I am a business strategist and a mindset coach. If you love the topic of this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you keep coming back for more and you are not yet subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button. This is officially my 6-year download. Here are 6 mistakes that I figured out pretty quickly that nearly broke my business and me. And each one of these has transformed into a lesson that you can immediately apply. If you're building your empire from hustle, chaos, or comparison, watch this video through to the end. It will save you not only tens of thousands, but also years of spinning your wheels trying to figure it out. Mistake number 1, I outsourced my authority too early. I wanted success so bad that I actually bypassed my own voice. I followed the instructions to a T of mentors, downloaded templates, used the same launch emails that everyone else was using, and I assumed that if I plugged into their systems, I would get the results as well. It seemed smart, efficient even, but it wasn't embodied. My sales pages started to sound like someone else. My content had the right language, but none of my essence. And when you build from someone else's blueprint, you become a copy of a copy. Even if the strategy is strong, if the identity behind it is not yours, it will not stick. I wasn't lazy or unoriginal. I had wanted to be my own boss since I was 10 years old. I was actually in a fawn response, over-reliant on authority figures, desperate for validation, terrified of being wrong. What I really feared was actually being myself and it not being enough. So I built an external brand that looked confident, while my internal brand, my true voice, was shrinking. People sensed it. My audience was not buying because I wasn't transmitting me. The turning point actually came when I printed out my content a few years ago and I read it out loud. I watched videos and I listened for the contraction in my voice, for the sentences that didn't land in my body. That was my nervous system saying, this isn't safe. This isn't true. I threw away the templates. I built a voice bank filled with phrases that were undeniably me. I stopped trying to sound expert and started sounding like me. That's when people started to trust me because they finally felt who I was. I filtered my strategy through self-authorship versus survival. I built a brand that could breathe. My offers felt like an extension of my truth, not performances of my potential. And that changed everything. Looking back, the strategy was not the problem. It was that I hadn't trusted myself to make it mine. Mistake number 2. I thought that hustle was the same as momentum. For a while, hustle was truly my identity in the first years of my business. If I wasn't working, I didn't feel worthy. My calendar was packed, my energy was fried, my days were full of movement, but not actual forward motion. Deep down, I actually feared what would happen if I stopped. Because stopping meant stillness. Stillness meant feeling, and feeling meant confronting all of the doubts that I had buried under productivity. So I kept moving. But movement without intention is just anxiety in motion. My launches became frantic. My content was created in survival mode. My nervous system was wired for urgency. I thought that I was being ambitious, but I was actually just addicted to the adrenaline. Hustle is not momentum. It's dysregulation wearing a productivity suit. When I finally started to learn how to regulate, to breathe before I created, to rest without guilt, to feel calm and creative, my results actually changed. I started to create from a place of presence, not panic. And the way that people responded shifted too. I had to rebuild safety and slowness, to decouple my worth from my output. Only then could I build real momentum, the kind that actually compounds, not collapses. Rest became strategy, regeneration became a right, and I no longer had to earn my place in my own vision. When I slowed down, I was able to see the blind spots, the energetic leaks, the truth under the busy work. That clarity gave me so much power because now I wasn't just working, I was actually creating. Taking us over to mistake number 3. I believe that productivity equaled progress. I was always doing, posting daily, writing content, updating back-end systems, batching carousels, Optimizing links, checking boxes, but it was not translating. I had a business that looked efficient, but it felt empty. The mistake wasn't in working hard. It was in working on the wrong things. I was actually afraid to slow down and ask, is this even working? Because what if the answer was no? What if I had to unlearn everything that kept me busy? Hyperproductivity is often a trauma loop. When you don't feel safe standing still, you overfunction to feel in control. But control is not clarity, and clarity is exactly what will move the needle. Once I stripped away the noise and I focused on the 20% of action that actually drove 80% of the results, everything changed. Not overnight, but with less energy leakage, less shame, more precision, more peace. I started tracking what actually mattered: revenue, leads, conversions, the simple numbers that build a sustainable business. And I let go of the fluff, the busy work, the shoulds. Because when your work becomes an extension of your genius, not your anxiety, you become unstoppable. Moving on to mistake number 4, I put the strategy above self. I spent years refining my strategy. I studied biopsychology, tweaked funnels, hired experts, obsessed over what was high converting, but no amount of strategy will work if it's executed by someone who does not trust herself. I kept asking, what should I say? Instead of, what do I actually believe? Because I didn't feel safe being fully seen, I kept trying to hide behind structure. But people do not buy your structure, they buy your certainty. So I paused and I rebuilt from the identity of a woman who was already the expert, who knew what she stood for, who trusted her ability to lead. And the strategy that I already had, it started to work because the woman behind it finally did. I began saying less, but with more power. I stopped trying to convince and started commanding. Strategy became a mirror of my inner congruence. And that really just made me unstoppable. The next level isn't about strategy, it is about embodiment. Mistake number 5, I avoided simplicity. Simplicity scared me because if I narrowed it down, it meant I was saying no. If I focus, it meant that I was actually choosing, and I was terrified of choosing wrong. So I built offers around what I could do, not what I was actually obsessed with. I made it so much harder for people to actually understand what I did, and confused people do not buy. Business 101. When I finally committed to one clear transformation and I built my business around that, my marketing got clearer, my content got stronger, and my sales got easier. Specificity is power. Simplification is mastery. The real flex isn't being able to do everything. It's being known for the one thing that you like to do. And that level of clarity comes from cutting out anything that no longer fits your highest identity. And mistake number 6. I ignored my nervous system. I thought that if I journaled enough, visualized hard enough, and repeated affirmations daily, that would be enough to change my reality. But mindset without regulation is just mental gymnastics. My body did not feel safe receiving money. It didn't feel safe being seen. And so every single time that I would expand, I actually collapsed. Until I started with the body. I learned to regulate first, to create calm in my system before asking it to hold more. Success is not built inside your head. It's built in your capacity. Your nervous system truly is the foundation. And until that is safe, nothing is sustainable. I began somatic tracking. I learned to feel the difference within my body between alignment and anxiety. I normalized ease. I made peace my own power source. Because if you can't hold it, you cannot keep it. And if your body rejects success, it's not exactly a sabotage. It's actually a safety mechanism. And so every single one of these mistakes came back to one root. I was building a business with a misaligned identity and a dysregulated body. The moment that I built from simplicity, safety, and self-congruence, everything changed. And I want that for you too. So if you're still hiding behind templates or perfectionism or people-pleasing, if you're showing up online but you're afraid of truly being seen, then this next video is for you. Click through now and I'm going to walk you through step by step how to overcome the fear of visibility. I will teach you how to be magnetic in your business, online, camera, even if you work a corporate job. Let's build from wholeness, not from hiding. I will see you in the next video.